How's it going, folks? Stu here. Another day, another film festival review for you chumps. And today we have one which I've been excited for. I have no idea why I just stumbled through that sentence like I did. If you sense any trepidation in my voice, you shouldn't have, because today I'm talking about The Royal Hotel, which is a film which stars Julia Garner, Jessica Henwick, and is directed by Kitty Green. Ingredients that I like to see in a film cake. That is the first and last time I will be referring to a film as a film cake on this channel. Let's move on. So, The Royal Hotel, as I said, directed by Kitty Green. A director I actually hadn't seen anything of until the day before the press screening for this one. I had a little bit of time and I realised I should absolutely check out The Assistant, which was her previous film, her feature film directorial debut, I think, after having worked in documentary for a long while. I thoroughly enjoyed The Assistant now that I finally got around to it, although not sure enjoyed is the right word to use. We'll move on swiftly though. So I was interested to see how her directing sensibilities might lend itself to a different story outside of, you know, I guess real life things. And she does pull off another really great, interesting, surprisingly fun, I want to say, film here with The Royal Hotel, which continues her record of just being very good at directing either non-fiction or fiction. This one is about a pair of US backpackers who are in Australia working at a pub over their holiday abroad. And the pub that they are working at is, let's just say, it's a little bit of a rowdy scene, to put it lightly. So we follow them as two women in this very male-oriented environment. And immediately there you can kind of see, I suppose, where Kitty Green as a director's sensibilities might lend itself to a film like this, having just come off of something like The Assistant. Whilst being in an entirely different location with a different story here, she is obviously still interested in, I suppose, gender power dynamics, and it is a different film to The Assistant in many ways, because this one is, on the whole, kind of a bit funnier as a film than The Assistant. No one watched The Assistant and had many laughs to give, because it's not a comedy. And this one, whilst dealing with some very serious things in the film, and on the whole dealing with a lot of very serious themes, as you might expect from a Kitty Green film, it is kind of playful with certain things in the film, and there are a lot of laughs dotted throughout, which was the first kind of nice surprise that I like seeing from Kitty Green here. It touches on the kind of culture clashing comedy that you get from, I suppose, a kind of fish out of water story. It's a sort of story that we've seen done a lot before. I'm not going to sit here and name all the fish out of water films we've seen in Hollywood films. My tongue would fall out. It wouldn't be very fun for anyone. But she continues this really interesting and effective approach as a director in being able to create a whole world around a character and a whole environment around this character, or characters in this case, that don't feel explicitly addressed but are just soaking into the frame, if that makes much sense. There's a lot of periphery stuff that happens in this film in a similar way to a previous film. But in The Assistant, I found it really impressive the way that she was able to kind of load on all of the pressure of that job and that environment, and, you know, the issues, the ethical dilemmas that are coming out of a Me Too era office environment. You never see the executive in that film. You never see much of the people that work around The Assistant. You hear glimpses of conversations as they sort of pass by, and it creates a really effective kind of claustrophobic atmosphere around the central character, and that works really well in a kind of fish out of water tale here, with Americans being in Australia, in a comedic way, but also in a very tense way as well. And she definitely hasn't lost her knack for creating really unsettling undercurrents through the film, which just sort of brim and then essentially just come to a fizzle. Well, that sounds a bit anticlimactic. The climax, you know, she twists the knob a lot as a filmmaker to some really effective varying degrees in the film. It's a film that looks like it's going one way a lot of the time, and for the most part doesn't tend to go there, or at least doesn't go there in the same way that you would expect. I love the way that Kitty Green sort of builds the power dynamics of this space in a way which feels like it's not incredibly knowing and like pointing at you. It feels like a natural space, if that makes much sense. And it's very chaotic for that. I think there's a lot of this film which feels quite overwhelming in many ways, which is by design and intentional on the part of the character of Julia Garner. That's not her character's name, it's the actress's name, but we're calling her that for this. Why not? Again here, it's great watching her character sort of move through this film and crack or deal with the weight of everything that's happening around her. And Julia Garner is fucking great. I mean, no surprises. She's a fantastic actress. I love her. I will watch pretty much anything she does. She still has an amazing presence on screen and an amazing way of quietly kind of conveying a lot of stress to us as a viewer. She's just fantastic. But alongside her is Jessica Henwick, who I also quite dearly love as an actress. And I think she's an actress that I haven't actually seen a lot of work from, really. And I think Kitty Green does give her a very good platform to shine here. She has got some great moments. She works really well alongside Julia Garner. The two of them, the pair's chemistry is believable on the most part. And the supporting cast is doing a lot of great stuff as well. Hugo Weaving's in the film. In the first of this film's I didn't know you were in this film. Is that really you, Hugo Weaving? But there's also the guy from Worst Person in the World, whose name I need to check because I've forgotten. I only know him as that. Herbert Nordrum. I didn't know it was this guy for a while. And then at like halfway through the film or so, motherfucker takes his sunglasses off. Bam. It's that guy. I don't want to say too much. His character is having a lot of fun in this film, I think, and is an injection of some kind of heightened, absurd comedy in the film. And he works really well in that mix. I think the film is very different in what it's going for, and so that allows it to go for a slightly different route through its narrative than something like The Assistant did. But it doesn't prevent me from feeling a little bit unsatisfied with some of the ways that particular relationships, particular confrontations end up going in the film. It's not that they're not good, it's more that some of them sort of either stretch plausibility a little bit, I think, particularly between the two best friends in the film. But B, do kind of feel a little bit kind of conventional, I suppose, in their approach. Like the way that the characters end up getting to places is more interesting than the places they end up getting to, I suppose. But that being said, there are still many ways that her characters in this film and relationships in the film do sort of subvert expectations in a really interesting way, in a really satisfying and potentially intentionally unsatisfying way. And I like those. I think there's enough of that to really keep it feeling fresh and worthwhile as a film. I suppose it just doesn't have quite as much of a impactful holy shit what I just watched vibe to something like The Assistant previously. But still definitely a good watch, and one which, you know, gave a lot of emotions that I didn't quite expect to be getting from the film, which is good. I always like being surprised by directors. But what about you guys? Have you seen The Royal Hotel? Have you caught it at the film festival this year, or have you seen it elsewhere, wherever it's been showing? Let me know what you thought about it in the comments down below, and how it fares for you versus some of Kitty Green's other work. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see me talk about more shit, go ahead and click subscribe. The button is down there for that, as well as links to all of my socials, should you want to go and peruse those. See you guys soon for some more thoughts on more films, but until next time, I'm going to go get probably not enough sleep so I can get up very early in the morning, drink a lot of coffees, and watch many more films.